Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Roots and Wings. My name is David Solomon. I'm a fractional chief revenue officer.
My name is Jennifer He. I'm a fractional chief marketing officer.
You know, folks, we here at Roots and Wings, Jennifer and I talk about a lot of things related to growth strategies, ideas for small to mid-sized businesses, and often we talk about sales tactics, marketing tactics, all kinds of tactics, where to grow, how to
And
grow,
strategies.
and strategies. You're right. But here's something that you don't hear enough of. And that is, I have an e-commerce site. I want to grow. I should add more products. Hold the thought for just a second. Why add more products when you can add a store? And that's something that we just don't get into enough is going back to other ways of growing the business. Now, Jennifer, I know that you're involved in this incredible project and all that, and you've had a lot of experience in here. E-commerce, when it started, was like, oh my God, what a really incredible idea. I can sell my merchandise all over the world. But there are limitations. What have you seen in terms of some of those, what you call the invisible ceiling when it comes to e-commerce?
Um, you know, First of all, like when we do e-commerce, we do ad spend, online ad spend. But imagine this scenario, this situation. Your repeat customers, they're already loyal customers, right? They spend on your website. They already know you. They will come back and spend. So you don't need to waste your ad spend on those people. But online, it doesn't differentiate that. So that's one of the signs you need to think about going off screen, meaning physical retail. So that's one thing. And because you have loyalty, but how about scaling and expanding to new customers, new territories, and new segments? So that's one of the signs.
You know what? One of the things I tell everybody is like when you're in e-commerce and it's such a it's so hard to get attention. If your name is Amazon,
Mm,
you're the you got. I mean, go search for a product, and what is the first e-commerce site's going to come up is going to be Amazon.
mhm.
How in God's name can I fight in that kind of realm? And you're right. Your repeat customers are your lifeline because finding new has become so hard. And you talked about I need to be seen. Well, the
But
only
even
way.
within Amazon, even within one category, how do you compete
Oh boy,
with
yeah,
millions of sellers in that category, right?
yeah,
Because David, to your point, we could discuss earlier, the e-commerce is becoming the world's largest mall. But
yeah.
there are so many malls and so many categories, and Amazon is one of the largest malls,
Oh
um,
yeah.
in the e-commerce space.
Well, what's insane is if it's when you walked into a shopping mall, 20 stores, 50 stores, 100 stores, 200 stores, blah, blah, blah. I mean, you can go crazy. Go visit some of the stores in Asia and you're going to see craziness in a mall.
Mhm.
Imagine the e-commerce is basically taking all these malls into one area. Because if you search for, and I just did this for my niece looking for a birthday gift,
Mhm.
I mean, oh my God, there's Amazon, 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 and others. I mean, the small boutique, I can't find them.
Yeah,
I can't find them.
yeah.
So let's talk about a different scenario. Okay. I mean, time to think retail, time to think, should say physical,
Mhm.
your brand.
Mhm.
Like at one point, I mean, you're the marketing expert here.
Yeah.
What happens when the brand outgrows itself online?
Yeah, we see when it outgrows your feed,
Yeah.
your digital feed, right? People see you with those pictures, videos, and stuff like that. But your brand is more than that, because the quality of your products, and you can differentiate from offline, from physical touch, feel, smell, right? The online, is not able to deliver that, especially quality brands, quality products. I'll tell you an example. I purchased something online, so on the picture it looks good, and then my default setting is, oh, it looks nice, and I did not know it's made of plastic. I didn't assume that, so I purchased those things. But when it they delivered to my house, I was like really disappointed about those quality. Um, so that was one of the experiences that physical retail will help
Yeah,
if you have a quality products.
I think one of the coolest things, the coolest experiences I was heard about. I haven't done it myself. Canada Goose has a store in downtown Montreal with a freezer in such a way that if you want to try the jacket in minus, I don't remember what the number is, minus 30, minus 40, I can't remember. You could try the jacket in the store. And that experience is, I mean, what you can't do that online. And so I think that we've kind of online has been that convenience, but when you have a particular brand with a particular, let's call it a flavor to it. uh, I mean, I wish you could scratch and sniff my screen, but I can't. So you have to really think maybe in this point something to do with retail.
Yeah.
Let's go to the last piece, right? And we're talking about designing in the dark. Jennifer, what does that mean?
Yeah. So it means that you get intelligence from your e-commerce website, right? All those clicks and people's behavior, but you know what the behaviors are like, but do you know why? So that you need to drive deeper, because physical retail, you can actually observe and talk to people when they pick up some stuff and when they pause, um, right? Have that interaction and have that observation. That's where online cannot do. Is driving deeper into the why piece.
It's an excellent point, and I think that this is where, oh my God, there's another survey, and oh my God, there's another reaction I get, and you've created for me, and we've talked about this so many times, the post-sale customer experience.
Mhm.
I'm tired of getting surveys. Oh, how did we rate? Give us a rating. Put us on Yelp. We need a 5-star rating on Amazon.
Yeah,
How does that help
and the
me?
surveys are very framed, right? Imagine
Oh
that
yeah.
they usually have four answers.
Hmm.
Then your audience is framed in those four answers. What if they're thinking outside the box? You should be thinking outside the box. your
Which,
your customers already do.
which leads us really to the next part of it, and that is the cost. When I stay 100% online, and a lot of businesses, and I know a lot of small guys on say, I'm going to stay online. It's cheaper. I could ship from my home, or I could ship from a pick and pack place. It's just better.
Mhm.
Well, what are you missing then, Jennifer? Where's the limitation?
Um, the online, like, it might be cheaper at the very beginning, but once when you grow to a certain stage, you hit a plateau. You need to spend more, and your content is getting bigger and bigger. You didn't know what kind of content management system you would need. So, with any growth, it's like, you started very cost effective, you think, with e-commerce, but when you grow to a certain stage, you hit a plateau. And plus, the e-commerce space. And David, we know that, let's not talk about AI, but AI is adding a lot of complication these days, right? It's
Right.
exploding. So
Right.
you are actually, your cost is getting more and more. So that's the
Hmm.
situation. With
But
the dollar.
there's other opportunities that I think that we're missing, and I'll use the McDonald's situation. Is you want fries with that? When we I in when we look at e-commerce and you want to buy an item, what do we see at the bottom? Frequently bought with, right? Suggested items, da da da. Da. And you need to create an algorithm in such a way to entice people to buy more. But then you're really 100% dependent on the purchaser to make the move. Now, I remember I was in Vegas a number of months ago, and a client of mine gave me some stuff. I had to buy a suitcase. I didn't have a suitcase to bring all this stuff home with. So I went into the store to buy a suitcase. I ended up with 3 items because the guy upsold me. I didn't come in. If I would have done this online, I would have bought a suitcase and that was it.
Mm.
But he found me something. He talked to me about something. Da da da. Next thing I know it, I walked out of there spending way more than I was really intending to. That I think is a big miss. And I think this is something that people don't realize. Online, that effort
Mhm.
is much, much harder than we gave it credit for. What else do you see as when you stay online as being that where you see other limitations?
So we talked earlier, like you miss that real customer interaction, and also, you know, when you wanted to test or design your new SKUs, meaning new products. So that's a term that retail often use.
SKU. Stock number units. That was
Yeah.
SKU abbreviation for those of you geeks out there. Sorry.
So basically, new products you wanted to test and design. So you do need to have that interactions and observe real time, because you design for real people, not design for something artificial online.
You know what? One of the things you talked about, and I'll give a real practical example. How many abandoned carts have we seen? Right? Think about it. You put something in the cart, abandoned. You walked away. How do you know why? How do you know why they left it in the cart? Was it a price? Was it quality? Did they find something else? Did they, when we don't have, I mean, one of the beauties of e-commerce is I have data coming out of my ears, but
Mhm.
what I don't have is the qualitative answers that I
Yeah.
need in order to be better at what I do, you
Mhm.
know? And so the abandoned cart scenario, I went to a page, I spent, oh, according to this, people spend 39 seconds here,
Mhm.
but they didn't buy.
Yeah.
How come?
Yeah. That's what I said earlier. You know the behavior, but you don't know like why.
Right, and in my world, in my sales world, we call these the objections, right? How do you handle the objections? And this goes back to my earlier McDonald's statement is, okay, I want fries, but that's the upsell, but the actual sell, I'm lost then. And I think that one of the beauties that retail has given, and look, you can buy a pair of shoes online. There's no doubt about it today. You could buy shoes. There's a return policies, yada, yada, yada. Fine, no problem. But do you know what? One of the things that I remembered, and I was when I was an 18-year-old putting men's shoes on their feet, was watching their faces as you put it on. Did it fit right? Did they enjoy the experience? Did they, you know, and if they said, "Oh no, this is not for me," well, let's have a conversation. How come?
Yeah.
What was wrong with it? I saw your face. There was something. And you don't get that in e-commerce. You and I love talking about the word relationships.
Mhm.
How do you have a
And
relationship on
connect.
e-commerce? So I think the cost of staying online is a little bit sometimes limiting. What do you think, Jennifer? Like, are there any other limitations we're looking at when it comes up to being in e-commerce still?
Yeah, I think we summarize it well, right? Those three signs, the three signs, and you should think about physical retail, and let's not talk about too much about the limitation, because
Right. All right.
e-commerce can be efficient. It's just not complete.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
And I think that people's buying patterns are changing. So here's the first thing. Here's the first thing. People are going to say, guys, retail's dead. Look at the malls; they're
Mm,
empty. What?
mm,
Retail's dead.
mm,
Retail's not dead, Jennifer.
mm.
You've seen it firsthand.
Yeah,
What's
people
happening?
still want interactions. Retail's dead because the old model needs to be disrupted. Um, that I agree. So we need to come up with more innovative solutions. Uh, it might be the old retail is dead, but there will be new retail. So as long as people want in real life interactions, we still want that connection. We still want to see, feel things. Physical retail will always be there.
I,
It
I
just
think that
it will just come with a different format.
right, and I think that what ends up happening, and when we talk about the retail, rethinking the physical retail space, you know, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, none of us own let's be realistic. We're not real estate developers or commercial real estate agents. We're not here to promote any of that stuff. But it's interesting to, for example, where, come holiday season, for example, to take a stand for 3 months and see
Mhm,
what people's reactions are
mhm,
is not obscene. And it's not just throw your items on a shelf.
mhm,
It's about getting involved and interacting with your customers.
mhm,
Because when you walk into places, and listen, ladies and gentlemen, we're living through a time where the Hudson Bay Company, the oldest retailer in Canada, is going bankrupt.
mhm,
I mean, let's be realistic. What went wrong? A lot. And it's a
mhm.
conversation for another day.
But
But
there are brands that are expanding,
yeah,
opening new stores. For instance, that Cafe Landwehr, right? I'm seeing them opening up new cafeterias and in Toronto in different locations.
and you know what? Even Starbucks, I mean, they have physical locations. They're rethinking now. The CEO announced he's rethinking the physical space to create a different environment. And
Mhm,
this is what needs to happen. And I know as a small business, we say, "Ugh, I don't have time. It sounds too costly." It doesn't have to be. The opposite. If you
mhm,
think about it as a test center for yourself, as a way to kind of interact with people, you'll find different channels. You'll find different ways to present the product, and that's the key. It's like, again, I have to buy more inventory? Not necessarily. You already have the inventory. You you don't have to think 100,000 square feet. This is not, you're not the Bay, you're not, an anchor tenant in any of these malls,
mhm,
but to have that space and to have others attract customers and then they're coming to you,
mhm.
you're growing your customer base now.
Yeah,
Now it's feeding your e-commerce site.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
are
And
we, go
yeah,
ahead,
we
sorry.
are actually working on a project, working on a physical retail solution. Yeah, we're inventing retail as a service. So if anybody is interested, come talk to us. Talk to
Not
me
me,
and
that's
David.
Jennifer's
We
project in
said
Toronto,
we're
folks.
not gonna promoting anything,
No,
but
but
once we
but
have
it's an
a
interesting
solution.
but it's an interesting experiment,
Mhm,
and I say it's an experiment. It's not a risk that people think it is. Because in retail, you end up having to buy, "Oh, I have to sign a lease for so long, and after this, after that." You don't have to.
mhm,
Test a short-term opportunity. Engage with customers. See what the customers want. Look, Amazon tested stores on for a reason.
mhm,
Okay? They took an imagine the best e-commerce site in the world, or one of, open retail stores. Now, some worked, some didn't, this, that, and the next thing.
mhm.
But there's a place still for retail.
Yeah,
And if you do not look at it as a growth strategy and you just look at it as a cost center, you're missing here the point.
mhm,
So Jennifer, if someone was to come to you, for example, and saying, I have a retail chain, I have a clothing chain, it's kind of unique.
mhm.
What would be your what would you tell them to think about as they approach you for that retail?
Yeah, I think at first I will evaluate the situation, and see where your chances are in physical retail. Where your chances are in other channels. So that's what I would do, and I would I would usually suggest that go modular, go short term, try things out and test, and if you fail fast. So it doesn't have to be costly.
No, and then like you said, I think what you just said, the
And
short term.
and come to us for detail stuff.
Yeah, no, but I think that the key here is that you come about it as I'm not selling you retail space. I'm selling you a new communication vehicle with your customers, a new way to attract new customers.
Mhm,
And it's not going to be just throw an item on a shelf and go, please come buy me.
mhm,
And I think that that's the key. That's what we're used to with traditional retail, is it has to sit on a shelf and wait for the customer.
mhm,
It doesn't have to be like that anymore. And oh, by the way, I would send a whole bunch of emails to your e-commerce customers right now and saying, guess what? We opened up a store. Come
yeah.
meet me, the owner,
Or pop up.
or a pop-up. You're right, your pop-up stand.
Yeah.
But this is a great way to connect with customers saying, hey, we're in the greater Toronto area in your case, and we're opening up a store at such and such a location. It's temporary, but I'm the owner. I'm the founder. I'm
Mhm.
the visionary.
Mhm.
Come talk to me. I want to hear about how you view the brand, what
Mhm.
you like, what you may not like. Da 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 da. Wow, what an engagement!
Yeah.
What an
Then you
engagement!
have that market presence.
So I think that for people to look at this as, again, testing it out for 90 days, Jennifer. What's 90 days when you think about it?
Mhm.
It's not a long time, but
Mhm.
that investment could be magnificent, especially if you work with other short-term people who, and collectively you're all screaming to people, come visit me. I mean, you guys are all helping each other to grow and expand. I think that's the beauty. That was the beauty of a shopping mall. No?
Yes. And even better.
And even better. So knowing what you're doing right now, um, if I have, what kind of product would you suggest would be a good candidate for such a pop-up stand? Is there any particular e-commerce category you would recommend?
I think tangible products because people can, touch, feel it. Um, that would be, yeah, you know, that's good for retail.
You
I
know,
know that the categories that we work with, but this podcast is not about promoting you and my services.
no, 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 but
It
the
is.
opposite.
It,
No, but what I'm asking is more, I think what you just said, and I think from the beginning, I think that if you have a brand, for example,
mm,
that has something special, a little bit of uniqueness to it,
yeah,
that people need to touch, feel, smell, taste, enjoy,
good
even if you
quality.
good quality, even if you sold to them in the past already, what an opportunity to go and to really engage with them.
Mhm,
Because really, surveys, impersonal. You could send all the thank you notes. Look, there's a I'm not going to promote their name of this company, but there are these guys out of Montreal who produce an underwear for
mhm,
men, and I got to tell you, they've done a remarkable job of trying to engage with customers
mhm,
on an e-commerce platform,
mhm.
but it's not enough. If
No.
they want to take it to the next level, I would have suggested to them a pop-up stand.
Yeah.
And these guys, I don't know them personally, so I can't help you on that end. But I think that that would be an opportunity for them one day to kind of explore and interact and get that engagement relationship with customers.
Yeah.
So if you guys are in e-commerce, or you know someone in e-commerce and want to get an idea or suggestions or recommendations, reach out to Jennifer. It's not about selling space. It's about thinking of the next step in your growth. And I think that's really, really key.
Yes.
So, Jennifer, as we wrap up, let's give everybody once more kind of like that takeaway from
Mhm,
today.
mhm,
What let's let we know retail's not dead, and we're not saying don't go e-commerce. So what's
mhm.
your takeaway from today?
Oh, you need to go beyond, your pixels, your online, and make your business more complete, and go to other channels, and try other channels. That's what I would say.
Last Friday, I spoke to a gentleman. His world is all Google ads.
Mhm,
And he said, "Oh, I talk to people who need to spend about five to $10,000 a month on Google ads."
mhm,
And I'm thinking that's a significant amount of money.
mhm.
If I took that kind of money in retail for 90 days, ooh, I could do a heck of a whole lot engaging customers. So,
Mhm.
if again, food for thought, ladies and gentlemen.
Food for
Anyways,
thought.
on that note, ladies, and if you want more information about going, about that or any of the other previous topics we've talked about here at Roots and Wings, just put a comment in below, and we'll be definitely happy to get in touch with you. Jennifer's coordinates, my coordinates are always on our videos. So you can always reach out to us if you have a marketing question, a
Yeah.
sales question. We're always here to answer. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening again and joining us. We look forward to this ongoing engagement with you. We love the comments, the feedback we're getting. Please, if you can just share it with your friends. This is just simple, easy ideas for an SMB business owner who's looking for that next idea to take it to the next level. So until next time, have yourself a wonderful day, everybody, and thanks
Uh,
again for